Right then, let's get this party started. It's Monday, so it's Monday malarkey. We're going to have a laugh, aren't we? Probably not, because you're going up a hill tonight, aren't you? Ouch. Now, some of you like hills. I know Top Jimmy does. And Gus McPherson's in tonight as well for West London. And he was screaming up the hills when we went out for a bike ride yesterday. So I suspect he'll be in for a bit of that. Not everybody's cup of tea. But guess what we've done? We've given you all 20 bonus points. If you turned up and tackled the hills when they're not your favourite, you're going to get 20 extra points. How's that? Aren't we generous? Well, let's have a look at the course, shall we? I'm sure we can have a quick look at the profile will be at the top, and the little arrow will take you around the course. So you can see you go around the coast, so it's all flat at the start. Look at the top in the grey bit. Then it goes up and it goes round that sort of white bit at the top, back down and does another sort of kind of not quite so white bit. There's basically sort of two mountainous climbs, and there's a little bump on the way up to the first one around the lakes. So the climbers are going to love this one, the sprinters less so. But remember, once you are over the mountains, if you've held any ground, it's reasonably flat to the finish. And remember as well, you've got a great start, a flat start at the beginning. I wonder how many of the people who don't like hills will try and break away and get up the hill in advance of the climbers, so that the climbers have to make up ground and they're still in contention at the top. You can see at the top it's very, very flat on the highest peak, the middle one of the three. That's because it goes round in that loop. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, you'll see it kind of goes round the peak on a flat level and then descends very, very fast. So this is going to be quite interesting. I'm sure the race will break up because of the climbs. But what we all know from all of this is that you get little subgroups and you get sub races, and it's exciting for everybody, isn't it? And if you're watching, let's hope it's exciting too. Now, let's remind ourselves who's in the leaderboards here. So 5 races done, 12 in the series. Electric Spirit, Race 3R, Pokemotion, Racio Racing, the main contenders for the title. And Tim Humpton from Electric Spirit ahead of Eugene Korolev, Rob Miller and Evan Ostenson for Race 3R in there too. Zeb Norman, the other Electric Spirit rider. Don't forget Pokemotion's John Sammet. He's firing this season. Richard Gate and Rasmus Feldball have been climbing up there. Jorgen van Beurs, the first of the two Van Beurs brothers, is separated by Jan van der Linden. Andy Evans up there in 12th as well. Gordon Jackson, Lancastrian hero, 13th. Morten Veng has missed some races. And one of our other favourites, Carl Axel Van der Person, in 15th. Right, 7 seconds to go. We better get on the start line, hadn't we? Let's see what we've got, ladies and gentlemen. We have 60 riders again for the second race running. And off they go. So, the pacer, remember. Now, everybody's sitting back from the pacer. I have put out warnings about this, but if you're watching for the first time, what you don't do is get level or ahead of the pacer, because it will ping on your brakes, and there's somebody in the yellow about to do that, and they're going to get pinged back, as does several riders. You don't do that. Luckily for them, it's quite early. If you go past the pacer, you are in a spot of bother. You're going to get braked and thrown back, and you can see people doing it. Now, part of the problem they have is that they've got a lot of momentum, and they can't actually brake to avoid doing it once they're up there. So, and I see somebody else is about to do it. It's Eileen Davidson this time. Glad you made it. Eileen's been out for a ride today, so she says she's going to be tired, but she doesn't look it in the early stages. Now, everybody settles down and goes to the pacer's pace. But what the pacer does, it gets progressively faster over the first kilometre. So the pacer should create a gap. And when we do get to the Flamme Blanc, that's two white flames coming out either side of the road, the pacer should pull away from these guys because we're still in the flat zone. We did have a race a little while back where because there was a hill and a dip, it did affect. Now somebody's chasing. It's Alex Plaisir from Racio Racing. Alex will know, though. He knows not to get past. And Gasper Copsey and who else have we got in there? Quite a few. Martin Drum. Through the... that says 0 laps to go. That's because some of these courses have a lead. There it is. There's the Flamme Blanc. And Alex Plaisir has got that damn right, hasn't he? Look at that. Flies off. Caught everybody else out. And he's got away. Now, we know that the hills are going to sort of make this a bit interesting. And we wonder whether Alex Plaisir, being chased by James Melville at the moment, Pete Austin from Leatherhead in there. Look, a couple of OTR riders. One of them just getting back on. Joris Scheppers for Racio in there. And the OTR riders in that wonderful new kit. I wonder if one of them is James Ogilvy. We'll have to have a look in a moment. James Ogilvy, the man who is Mr. OTR. And look at this. People are chasing now. Alex Fraser hasn't got it all to himself. Or are these people just trying to get ahead of the pack? So this is Kasper Kopse now, Slovenian, one of two Kopses who race in this. He's pulling away in that resplendent yellow. It's quite a striking kit, isn't it? It says Mavic all over it, to me. But that's a little thing. He's on a -1 descent at the moment, which is quite advantageous. Hasn't really pulled away, so I think this is more about making sure that he's making the chase. It is splitting the peloton here. On a flat race, I think this is significant because you get the groups. On a hilly race, not so sure because people in front groups on the flat will fall out of contention once they get into the mountains. And it's one of the ECKD rides. Look out for their race on a Wednesday night. E-Cycling Club Denmark running a little private race for all the Danish riders on a Thursday. But everybody's welcome. ECKD are top promoters, and they are Wednesday with an open house party. You don't have to be Danish to do their Wednesday night. 7 p.m. Wednesday nights, ECKD. Look out for that. It's going to be one of the big weekly fixtures on IndieVelo. Look out also, New Horizons on a Thursday from OTR. And of course, Titans on a Tuesday from OTR. Ratio Racing are up on a Friday now, we're pleased to see. Omnium on a Wednesday too. They're flooding in. Team Lou's got his group rides going as well. So, there's a lot of people come over from RGT and there's a lot of familiar faces. As we see Kasper Kopse going off the front again, he's got Ingmar van Beurs, one of the Van Beurs brothers, riding for Ratio Racing, right with him. Tim Humpton is now up in the white. Always look for the white. Tim Humpton, Zeb Norman, the main Electric Spirit riders, very much odds on for the team competition in this series. But Kasper Kopse now still in second. And it's, I assume that it's still an Alex Pleasure way out the front, isn't it? So it's we'll have to see. He's saying Kasper's second in the at 59 riders, so we've dropped a rider already. Isn't it? One day, just one day, there's going to be the same number of starters as there are finishers, but maybe not tonight. So Kasper Kopse now leading this. I think we've got a selection here, haven't we? You can see that it's sort of kind of thinning into two groups there. It's a bit ragged, but I think we're on for a sort of. I think even though that's split about 2/3 of the way back past this group, we'll merge into one, and we are about 3/5 of the way to the first pump. If you look at the profile along the bottom of your screen, you can see the grey profile. You can see where the yellow arrow is. This is where this group is. 59 racers on the field at the moment, and this group now, Eugene Korolov, very much in contention. Actually, this may be splitting into two, and you can see much further back around the bend there's another group behind them. Will this merge into one group or not? I think it's going to. Look at the chasers now. They're making that gap. They're going to get on, and we've got a decent sized peloton going into the first climbs. Now, the first climbs, this is going to be slightly steep in places, and I think there'll just be little sections where you see people fall off, and the people who like a bit of gradient will presumably have tested this course and will make the most of it. Rasmus Feldball at the front of this group with 34 riders in there too. Looking a little bit back further here, we're looking at Andrew Walker now. I hadn't realised there's two West London riders in there. Eileen Davison. I only found out, I did not know this, but Andrew Walker's brother is Eileen Davison's other half. And they live at opposite ends of the country. One's in Inverness and one's in Portsmouth. How about that? So two West London riders in there. Who else we got in there? Jan Hansen. Now, he is Mr. ECKD. We've got Mr. OTR and James Ogilvy, and we've got Mr. ECKD in here. Jan Hansen. Jan Hansen in the red ECKD kit. As I say, just right behind the OTR rider. I think I'm just trying to see which OTR rider that is, actually. David Buckley's in this group as well. Great to see you, David. David helped me. Do you know what? I think I said this last time he was in one of the races. When I was first started doing this, David Buckley was very, very supportive. He's a tech guy, and some of the techie bits of doing all the results and things in those very early days, 4 years ago, David Buckley helped me out a lot. So the OTR rider is Adam Morgan, and who else we've got in there? David Buckley, as I say, ECKDs, and Francis Chalmers is in the grey jersey in that group. On the left-hand side, one of the West London riders pulling off the front there, Rasmus Feldball in the group, and the rider is Top Jimmy. Now, I have to say, Top Jimmy is now in front of Alex Plaisir, and that's not a bad place to be. We're heading towards the hills. Now, I have to tell you, Top Jimmy likes hills. I'm not saying he's going to win up these hills, but he certainly shouldn't be dropped because this is his kind of country. Let's see what Top Jimmy can do. Dennis Voyal for RGT. RGT, that's an interesting club to have on this platform. But nearly everybody here was, of course, riding on RGT. So we all got very, very fond memories of RGT. Maybe not quite as much for Wahoo, but anyway, let's not get into the politics of that. Gasper Corps on the front. Ingmar van Beurs now, very much ahead of his brother. I haven't seen Jorgen in there at the moment, but both ride for Ratio, of course. Nick Greenhouse, I haven't seen him, one of the other Ratio contenders as well. Gasper Corps, putting in a good shift here, though. Top Jimmy staying in there. We've got Tim Humpton coming up to take the front. Tim is strong. I think Tim's quite an all-rounder. I mean, he might see things like that differently, but Tim, I think primarily he's got this amazing kick at the finish. Ludwig Karlberg out there now. Excellent bit of riding, Ludwig. Get out there. Rasmus Feldball now taking up the front. Rasmus, if there is a race and Rasmus Feldball isn't on the front, there's something wrong. Rasmus, we love the way you illuminate these races, and Alex Plaisir the same. Don't you love characters like this? Don't they make it? Well, just Lo in there, the Francais. Well done, Lo. Great to see you in there. Colin Sylvander Pedersen, Zed Norman, of course, in this group. James Millville, Glasgow United. These are the names. Jorgen van Beurs is Jorgen van. I'll get the names right. Jorgen van Beurs in there as well, so it's great. As we go past one of those banners, you can ignore that one. Obviously not the branding. It's Monday Malarkey. It looks good, but it's got nothing lit up in the little screen dangling from that. So it means it's there, located for other races and other reasons. If it's lit up, it's something to do with the race you're in. And it's very much Tim Humpton off the front now at the moment. They are on this climb, 7%. It's not easy. Now, I would expect this to start thinning quite a lot, even on this first little bump. I mean, I've ridden these myself. I know what this is like. I mean, it's quite grueling. We're looking back here now. James Ogilvie, my man James, 27th at the moment. You get in there. You've got the most aerodynamic kit on. I'm telling you, James, that OTR kit is quite striking. James has got Ruben Medina on his. He rides for BBC. I'm sure that's nothing to do with our television channel here in the UK. Richard Gate just behind them now. Richard is very much in contention for the title. Peter McDermott behind that, and James Eastwood as well, another rider riding just behind him. James is quite a contributor on social media, quite a part of the community is James. Here's Richard Gate now, he's in contention. Going back, Peter McDermott now, and James Eastwood. Now, James, as I say, is one of the characters of the community, put some great posts up. Always look out on the Facebook group. James is there to help you out. Sandy Thompson, Clive Byam, the OTR man behind him. Clive, so many races. Frédéric Foulon behind him, the Belgique. And Thomas Lashnik, looks like Slovenian. I know there's two flags like that, and I can't quite see. David Buckley just behind. Great to see you, David. Jan Hansen also in there. Eileen Davidson now holding her own despite that earlier ride. We're looking at Frédéric Foulon, one of the R3R riders. Here we are. This is Thomas Lashnik. I say Slovenian if I've got the wrong flag, because I can't quite see the crest. There's very similar flags like that. Top Jimmy is off the front. Quite amazing. This is the mountain man lives in Uxbridge, and if you, which is probably fair. Oh God, look at that mountain behind us. That's the sort of thing we're going up later. Now, Mr. Mountain here, who's leading at the moment, and I'm not sure how far he's going to go sustaining this, but he's just about to get over the first little bump. Going to drop down, and as I say, if you, it's really unfair because we all live near Uxbridge and we know what it's like. It's not mountainous, shall we say? It's not a mountain area. There's a couple of little hills outside, but nothing like this. So Jimmy takes the turn. We don't go quite to the top of this. We go around there. Zeb Norman in the chase. Tim Humpton too. Electric Spirit are going to be the big challenge. Can Top Jimmy get his best finish ever? He's got Tim Humpton, Ludwig Karlberg. Ludwig has been absolutely smashing it recently with the wind. Now, Top Jimmy trying to make the most of the descent down on the handlebars. A bit up again. I'm not sure what determines that actually, but maybe if you stop pedalling, it puts your chin down. He's been chased hard by Tim Humpton. I think Tim's making up a little bit of ground here. You've got to keep pedaling on the downhills, all of you. And I think Jimmy just holding him off. But Tim is making up ground. Tim's going to catch. Will Tim make this? They all break on the corner. Three of them getting away now. It's Ludwig Karlberg. Poor old Top Jimmy's up against serial winners here. And Tim Humpton taking up the challenge. It's Top Jimmy and Tim Humpton being chased by Ludwig Karlberg and Zeb Norman. Top Jimmy, mate, James, you are in top company here. These are the elite of these races. These are the guys who've been lighting up these races lately. And my good friend James from Uxbridge is in there with them. You fight it away. Absolutely delighted for you. I think this is going to be so much fun. Probably not for you, actually, James, because you're going up a mountain now, aren't you? A long old climb. Looking back further, James Melville in the group here. He's with Jakob Vid from Norway and Rasmus Feldball. Not Norway, Denmark. Also from Denmark. So James in good company there. Joris Shepherd's behind him, 8 seconds, with Alex Plager. So Alex Plager's early break has obviously bought him some time, but falling back a little bit. Good to see Daniel Nurschper from Pedalers just behind him, and Tim Cummins. Tim, I think you rode past me yesterday, and I didn't realise till you'd ridden past and didn't say hello, so apologies for that, Tim Cummins. We're on Daniel Nurschper here now from Germany, and there's my friend Tim just leading the R3R rider. Evans Oystensen very much in contention for this, so he'll want a good place. Tony Martin Lake in the OTR kit just there. Mark Ingram as well. A couple of Ratio riders in there, Ingmar Van Beurs and Jorgen Van Beurs, the two brothers. Peter Austin for OTR is going to be behind them. Kurt Pedersen we haven't mentioned. Dennis Vorel I think we have. So Martin, I'm not sure what Martin runs. I should know. But he's got ECKD after his name. And then BMX. The BMX riders, it's a sub-team of E-Cycling Club Denmark. So if you see the BMX riders, they are part of ECKD, but in a kind of sub-team, just so they can break it all up. Rather like OTR have lots of little sub-teams in their club. Top Jimmy has pulled away from Tim Humpton. I mean, he keeps telling me that he likes hills. I didn't think he liked him this much. James, we're all going off to the Pyrenees on a club ride in June. Why haven't you booked? I'm gonna WhatsApp you about that in the morning. If you win on these mountains, you are coming to the Pyrenees with us, okay? Mind you, I mean that's not a good idea because he'll leave me behind on the climbs, won't he? Top Jimmy now pulling away. There's a long way to go though, but they're about halfway up the biggest mountain. Don't forget they do that loop around the chalky bit. 5% gradient. This is probably the sort of thing. And he's got 9 seconds on Tim Humpton, 24 on Zeb Norman, 25 on Ludwig Karlberg. We've seen though, Tim is a strong rider. He knows how to sprint. They've got that flat section at the end, and Tim clearly made up ground on the descent. So it isn't over yet. Carl Axel Xander Pedersen still only 20 seconds behind. Lomel the Francais in there, 41 seconds. Casper Coxey at the front. And a couple of the Scots riders from Glasgow United. Now, these guys will know how to climb. Trust me. They might be 50 seconds behind, but it ain't over till we get to the flat bit. So, this is going to be exceptional. If Top Jimmy pulls this one off, this is going to be a surprise of the series. Jimmy will probably not be a surprise because he frequently tells me how he wants hills in his races, and I do like to mix the series up. But I think Jimmy, you owe me a beer. I think a pint down at the Crown and Treaty in Uxbridge is going to be on your tab, mate. Let's see. Ludwig Karlberg, this guy has been winning with style recently in these races, hasn't he? And absolutely... sorry. I'm laughing because I'm getting messages from the producer about beer now. Wish I hadn't mentioned that. Actually, the Crown and Treaty, if you are British, is quite an interesting pub. And the reason it's called the Crown and Treaty is during the English Civil War, King Charles went there for negotiations on a ceasefire or something like that. Anyway, it's during the middle of the Civil War, and so the King actually met for peace talks there, which didn't materialise, and the building got named the Crown and Treaty because the Crown went there to do a treaty. And they do actually, I'll tell you what, Damon, they sell rather nice beer in there. It's decent stuff. 17 seconds on Tim Humpton. This is absolutely phenomenal. And I tell you what, talk about phenomenal, I'll tell you what is really clever and I admire about this. The elevation you're on here from sea level is not really above the tree line, and it's not really going to be covered in snow. So what Ivy have done, and I think this is so cool and clever, they've made it a chalky limestone thing. So it looks like you're at the top of a mountain, maybe a bit like Ventoux. It isn't, it's white because of the chalk, the limestone or chalk or whatever it is. And that's what they've done. So you're going to get this effect of like doing a real mountain. And do you know what? Jimmy is just about to hit the plateau. He's on the 15% section though, and you can see the body going up and down now as Jimmy fights that last little ramp. I know what it's like, Jimmy, I've done it, but you're there now. Look, you can see the banner. When you get through the banner, you're on the flat, you do a loop, make up some ground, and you've got a whirlwind descent. As we look further back, Jimmy coming through that barrier now. You can see the little mound in front of you. We're going to do loop round that. We go to the right and it rejoins again. You can see the junction here. You can see where you come back on the course. Jimmy is through the mountain. He's going to go on the flat bit. Now, let's have a look at the wind direction. The wind direction is such that he's going to get a side wind and probably blown round the other side of it and then be shielded from the wind on the way back. So it's not disadvantageous. I've done this where you've had a headwind on some of the sections. It's Tim Humpton though. Tim is not going to give up. And nor is Zeb Norman, and nor is Ludwig Karlberg. You've got some great names. And Eugene Korolov now, another man in contention, is not far behind, nor is Carl Alexander Pedersen. This is turning into a bit of a race. Look at the riders now. This is Eugene Korolov, the Russian now, making up grounds. And this is going to be closer than you might have thought. Ludwig Karlberg now, and Zeb Norman going through. You need, well, I don't know how these riders react. I know when I get to the top, I thought, well, ease off for a second and get my breath back. And that's not what you need to do in these races. Carl Alexander Pedersen now, he's churning out. He's got the flat and the descent to make up the ground. I don't think Top Jimmy's got it all his own way. As we watch another couple of riders, Laume, the Francais, the Kasper Kopse, the Slovenian now, and Rasmus Feldball not far behind him, Jakob David, a couple of the Danes, and Stevie Cooper from Glasgow United also making that up. We're back on Top Jimmy. Now he's going round that loop as we watch Kasper Kopse now coming up to the barrier. And in a little while, we're going to see them coming through the barrier, and we're going to see people like Top Jimmy coming the other way. Top Jimmy is in your left-hand screen. One of the ECKD riders just coming through there. Another ECKD rider coming through now. Here's Hovid and this is Stevie Cooper coming through for Glasgow United. On your left-hand screen, it's Top Jimmy. Top Jimmy will be coming round to that barrier again soon. He's on the way round. He's certainly more than halfway around the top of the mountain, I think. He has got 3 seconds. Tim Humpton is making up ground. You can see it. Top Jimmy just coming through the... Tim Humpton has made up good ground. Tim Humpton can descend. You can see the riders going the other way now. Tim Humpton flies past now. And we did worry about this for Jimmy. Jimmy's going to have to make up ground. Tim knows how to descend. Top Jimmy reacting probably a little bit late. The gap's quite big now. It's a second gap. Eugene Korolov now is up into third place. He's quite a way back on the others though. And I think Top Jimmy is just making up some ground on Tim Hampton. I think he's kind of realised he hasn't got his own way. In fact, is Top Jimmy going to go around Tim? My goodness. This is swings and roundabouts. Actually, it's not swings and roundabouts. Of course, that is another IV course. Tim's having none of that. He goes by just when Top Jimmy thinks he's got it his way. Tim Hampton takes up the lead. Top Jimmy sitting on his wheel, letting Tim do the pacing. I don't suppose and Top Jimmy now. There's no braking on this, so if you accelerate too much in the catch-up, you are going to fly past your rider. Sitting on the wheel is not quite as easy as platforms that have braking and I suppose lanes and things like that where you can drop in and drop behind somebody and get blocked. But Top Jimmy now not getting it badly off. This is time trial and experience. Top Jimmy rides for our West London team in the OTR Love TTT races on IndieVelo. If your team's not in that, make sure it is soon. James Ogle will be running that for OTR. That's the TTT night. We've got a team in there. We'd love to build it up to 2 teams. We've nearly got enough riders to do 2 teams, but not quite enough. And if you are not attached to a team and you want to do them, we'll usually ride them Wednesday nights, although it's reasonably flexible according to availability. And if you are looking for a team, West London are certainly looking for a couple more riders in our team to try and build up our OTR Love TTT teams. And of course, also compete in this. Top Jimmy's he's doing this quite cannily, isn't he? And another thing to look out for is Tour du Monde, which OTR is bringing you. Now, you remember Tour du Monde from RGT, don't you? This is going to be fantastic. Look at this. And what a visual, what a great little sizzler, eh? Look at that. And 12 stages. Look at that. It's make sure you don't miss this one. We done Chase the Yellow Tour du Monde. Big series, Tour du Monde 2024, coming your way, courtesy of OTR. And Top Jimmy is putting the pressure back on Tim. Now, this is going to be interesting, because this is Top Jimmy's, I'm guessing, this is his last chance to put some gaps into Tim Hampton here. Because if you look at the yellow arrow at the bottom of your screen, we're going up. You can see riders coming the other way, which is interesting, isn't it? You can see them going up this hill. Now, when you get to the top of that, you've got descent and a reasonably fat finish. And what we've seen so far in this race is Top Jimmy is making ground on the hills, but Tim Hampton is making ground on the flats and the descent. So Tim now has got to work hard to stay and keep Top Jimmy within contention, or Top Jimmy, James from Uxbridge, has got to make that gap big enough that he doesn't get caught out in the end. And we've all seen what a Tim Hampton finish looks like, don't we? Now, looking at Eugene Korolov now, he's with Zeb Norman, Electric Spirit now. They're probably going to get 2 in the top 10, maybe even in the top 4. And that is going to rack up the points in the team competition, isn't it? Absolutely phenomenal, these guys. Zeb Norman now. Eugene Korolov, who's another contender for the GC now, coming round that bend, just sort of going up the this second climb. And it's quite just, in fact, Ludwig Karlberg between them, of course, just in sight on there. I wonder who else is further back in the field while these guys grin and bear it up the hill. Let's have a look at some of the other riders. Carl Axel van der Pedersen, as we said, is not far behind. James Melville, the other Glasgow United, further back. I wonder who's... we've still got 59 riders on the course, which is quite healthy. The mountains haven't killed anybody. Well, they killed one person off because we started with 60. James Melville. James, if you are listening, or if anybody who knows James, I have a trophy for you from the last RGT series. And although I do have an address for you, I don't know how up to date it is. And I'd like to post your trophy off from the RGT series that we just finished. So if anybody knows James, could you nudge him to contact me with a delivery address? If not, I might send it to Alistair. Okay. So, moving back, Gasper Copse, Low May, Le Foncé, Rasmus Feldpool in this little group here, and Jakob Vivid 30 seconds off Stevie Cooper behind them. So, this is Gasper Copse, Rasmus Feldpool. We're back to Stevie Cooper's group now. Jakob Vivid, another of the ECKD riders. Behind there, we've got the German Daniel Nurschber. Daniel was talking about trophies. Daniel won one of the trophies in some of the early series I did, and so he's certainly got a shelf somewhere with one of our trophies. And there's Daniel here with Joris Scheppers. Daniel riding for Pedalers, of course, and Joris Scheppers riding for Ratio Racing. Tim Humpton back at the front here now, and he's got in front of Top Jimmy on a climb. And I think this is probably not good for Top Jimmy because as they reach the top of that climb, you might just favour Tim Humpton in a sprint finish on this. But how much has Top Jimmy's work taken out of Tim Humpton? Top Jimmy's not giving up. They're on a 5% gradient. They're not quite at the top, but the terrain is going to suit Tim out of these two on the way down. They've both got 37 seconds on Eugene Korolov and Ludwig Karlberg. Zeb Norman not far off the pace at 43 seconds behind, then a decent gap back to Carl Axel van der Pedersen. James Melville could catch Carl, Jasper Copse and Lome with him. Rasmus Feldpool not far off either. So, Top Jimmy sitting on the wheel. What would Top Jimmy do here? You're actually up against one of the stars of this now, Top Jimmy. And actually, if you pull this one off, you're going to be a folk hero in the way that Gordon Jackson is. I haven't done much coverage of Gordon Jackson yet, but I'll tell you what, they go through another one of those arches, not affecting us, but they're over the top of the climb. And this is where it's all going to get interesting. Top Jimmy probably knows what he's going to do already. Tim Humpton piling on that descent pressure and making a little gap between him and Top Jimmy. I think Top Jimmy is going to have to work very, very hard on the downhills, which isn't his favourite. And Tim looking like he's pulling away. And Top Jimmy now, James down on the handlebars, makes some ground up. It's not over yet. It ain't over yet. It's keeping us guessing. I can't wait for the WhatsApp group after this one, James. I just can't. That's our little club one. I'm sorry I can't share it with you, but you are going to be such a hero, even if you come second in this one, because to challenge Tim like this is phenomenal. Look at this, West London versus Electric Spirit. Both teams higher up in the echelons. Top Jimmy just taking the lead there. And 36 seconds, they're maintaining the distance back to Eugene Korolov and Ludwig Karlberg. So we'll see what happens. Not sure how we're getting on the ladies' race. Quite a few groups. We've still got 59 riders on here. Tim just leading through that arch, but I think that's just a case of momentum taking him past the rider. There is a little bit of a gap appearing, but I don't think it's enough yet. When they do get to the bottom, there is one little ramp just before the really flat finish. Maybe Top Jimmy will elect to have a little attack on there rather than duke it out in a sprint with Tim, which I must admit, I don't think I would fancy having to duke out a sprint with Tim Humpton, that's for sure. Getting down to lake level now, if you're familiar with IndieVelo Island, you'll know that it's got these couple of lakes and then the high peaks in the middle, which of course we've been up today. Looking back here, this is the ladies' race. Eileen Davidson, she's with Andrew Walker. As I say, they're not. One is the completely opposite end of the UK to the other, and yet they are related. That's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Both riding for Western London. Absolutely delighted to have them in. Delighted to see Aileen's switched over to the West London ladies team to get the points. I know that Gail Robinson and Lisa Weston are in for Twickenham tonight, and we did have a little chat about this, and we sort of kind of looked at how we do the ladies' points, and we kind of I haven't fully explained this to Gail, but if you are listening, Gail, I kind of decided that if I tweaked yours in the way you asked me to, I'd have to tweak the West London ones, and actually it was quite quite. Now here's Gail now. She's obviously not enjoying that, but it has to be said, she had so many dropouts last time. This is probably preferable to what she had before. So she's behind now, Natalia Zadeska, a Russian. I think it's Russian, yeah. Great to see you. And here's Lisa West, the other Twickenham lady. Oh, they got the Twickenham kit. Fantastic. Well done, Grant, for sorting that out. And that's absolutely fantastic. Maria Vitsky, a little bit further down, also riding for West London Ladies. So the ladies' competition very much between my own West London Ladies team and the Twickenham Ladies. And love you all. And obviously, I'm supposed to be a little bit born biased to West London, but the Twickenham people are so nice and so decent that if our team's going to finish second, it couldn't happen to nicer people. And Gavin Grant in there. It's three Twickenham riders together. Gavin Grant, who sorted out the kit. Well done, Gavin. And when I was talking about the Pyrenees trip earlier, we're all going down to Gavin's place in the Pyrenees to do some mountain climbs. Maria Vitsky there just in the screen. We're back up the front, and I'm afraid Tim Humpton has put the power on, and funny enough, he's put it on the ascent, which you'd think favoured Jimmy, and he's pulled out 6 seconds on Jimmy, and I think that's growing. So now, if Jimmy gets over the hump with 39 seconds on Ludwig, he's probably a short of second, but Tim, doing what he does so often, is puts the power down at the end. It's out to 7 seconds. I don't think Jimmy's going to catch that. And Tim goes over the top now. He's onto the 0%, onto the descent. Jimmy's not going to catch him on the descent or the flat bit. So the job for Jimmy now is to make sure that he isn't caught by Ludwig Kohlberg. Now, Ludwig Kohlberg and Eugene Korolov are both in contention for the series. We've seen Ludwig Kohlberg absolutely smash finishes. So, Jimmy, you're going to have to work to hold that second, because you've got some big names behind you. Ludwig Kohlberg here now with Eugene Korolov. Ludwig in the orange, Eugene in the green, as they go up. They're still climbing 1%. They have got 33 seconds to make up on top Jimmy with 2.3 kilometers to go. It can be done. These are strong finishers. Top Jimmy may have the advantage on the climbs, but the climbs are all over now. It's Eugene Korolov, who's pulled away a little bit from Ludwig, but Ludwig making it up. Zeb Norman now dropped out of that group, 22 seconds behind these two. Can these two catch top Jimmy? Can top Jimmy hold on to that top place? We're looking at Zeb Norman now, the other electric spirit rider. He's got 30 seconds on Carl Axel Van and Lo May at the moment. So Lo May, Carl Axel Zander Pedersen and Casper Kopsey and James Melville, all in a little group. That's going to be a great sprint if they hold together. Zeb Norman now on the chase. Eugene Korolov, 23 seconds. Top Jimmy's still got 31 seconds on those. He's 10 seconds behind Tim, though. And there's and it's 1 kilometre to go for Tim Humpton. He goes through the Flamme Rouge. Tim Humpton is going to clock up another win. The series leader is going to hold his position in style, as he always does. You can see the finishing barrier. No, you can't. That's a different barrier. Sorry about that. And top Jimmy now, 1 kilometre to go. He's got 30 seconds on Eugene Korolov. He should be able to hold it. You grit your teeth and pedal, mate, as we go right. I wonder how many other riders are going to fall for that like I did and think that's a finishing line, ease up and realise they go to the right and they're chasing another finishing line. Tim Humpton now is going to take the win, but this is going to be unprecedented. Brilliant win for brilliant second place for top Jimmy, and absolutely thrilled for you, mate. Tim Humpton, what a star. He's now got 13 seconds on Jimmy, who's got 29 seconds on Eugene Korolov. He's not going to get caught now, I don't think. And mind you, the moment you say something like that as a commentator, it all goes wrong. Tim Humpton is going to win, though, and I can confidently say that. As you come round the bend, we're going to start seeing the finishing barrier any moment now. As we come round this bend, it's there. There we are. There it is. You see it late. Tim Humpton, absolutely superb. He always is. Even when he doesn't win, he's absolutely superb. What a star. What a hero. Now, the big shock of the day, maybe not for Jimmy. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. I hope everybody is as thrilled for James as I am. I mean, I know he's on my team, but that was absolutely thrilling. And it's Ludwig Kohlberg now showing what he can do. This is why Ludwig wins races. He knows how to do this on the line, a bit like Tim. Wasn't up with Tim today, had to settle for third, but he's going to beat Eugene Korolov, who will not be disappointed with fourth place because that's a good haul of points, and Eugene very much in contention for GC. Zeb Norman now not quite keeping up with some of his rivals, but as always, fantastic finish. And look at Lo May. Lo May now with Carl Axel van der Pedersen, James Melville and Casper Gopsy. 4 of them together. This is going to be an absolute stormer of a sprint. We'll watch Zeb come in now. He's Electric Spirit. Now the dominant team with these results. This is really going to serve them well in the teams classification. And these two riders, Zeb Norman and, of course, Tim Humpton, absolutely dominating the series. They don't win every race, but collectively they pick up some points. Now then, well done, Zeb. Let's have a look at this next group. Look at this. And it's James Melville off the back of the... James Melville losing a little bit of ground. He's putting his head down. He's trying to catch up. His gap Scopse within sights, but it's Lo May on the front at the moment. Carl Axel van der Pedersen going by. Casper Gopse is going by them both. It's Casper and it's James Melville doing the same. James Melville has not got enough ground to catch up with Casper, and I think he may be in danger of being caught. No, he's not. James holds on. Absolutely fantastic. We love sprints like that. That's why we like the groups breaking up. I don't put them in pens. You'll find your own natural group. Rasmus Feldball loves going off the front. Climbs, I would guess Rasmus will tell you, not his favourite. ECKD is the team he rides for, of course. And don't forget, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. on IndieVelo, the great IndieVelo, the platform that just keeps getting better and better. And with the likes of ECKD running races on it. Remember, their open house race is on a Wednesday at 7 p.m. They do run a Danish riders only event on Thursday, but if you're not Danish, go for the Wednesday one, because on Thursday you do New Horizons from OTR, can't you? Don't forget Tour du Monde coming your way from OTR, and of course their Titans on a Tuesday, Omnium on a Wednesday. R3R, I've got a Tuesday night as well, Spritz event, and as we watch Rasmus Feldball come in, Ratio Racing now on a Friday, and Lou Ricks with his group rides. Stevie Cooper now in the screen just behind Jakob Ved, the Dane. And who else we've got coming in next? Oh, and somebody, Joris Schipper's Horacio just being left behind a little bit by Daniel Nurschper, and Daniel taking that clean win from Joris Schipper's ahead of Tim Cummins. Another good result, Tim. You're in the form of your life. I reckon it's this retirement you've done. So Tim recently retired from the police force, as it happens, and I think, being a policeman, you probably have to be reasonably fit. But he's now got all his time to go out and practice his cycling. Well done, Tim. Well done, Tim. You've beaten Alex Blazer as well, and Tony Martin Lake as well. You've beaten some good names there, Tim. Well done. So 8th was Carl Axel van der Pedersen, Lou May in 9th, Rasmus Feldball 10th, Jakob David at 11th. Stevie Cooper for Glasgow United 12th. Daniel Nurschber with that fantastic sprint away from Joris Scheppers. As we watch the Ratio main man, Alex Plager, the German, pretty much organises a lot for that team alongside people like Nick Greenhouse. Of course, Nick Greenhouse running the Ratio Friday evening races, Ratio Racing, Ratio Fridays. And Tony Lake, Martin Lake will come in next. I think that's the first OTR rider in Tony in that wonderful kit that James organised. Well done, Tony. Oh, just missed that one. That was one of the Ratio riders just taking it from, I think, an ECKD rider and an R3R rider, wasn't it? So shame we didn't kind of catch the build-up to that one. Kurt Pedersen, Fiat. This is, I assume, one of the ECKD sub-teams. I will assume that because I'm not 100% sure. Sometimes if you go around the side, you can see that there's probably a Swedish flag on the shorts, which will tell you that it's an ECKD sub-team. And I think that's right. You can see the flash of red on the shorts. Kurt Pedersen coming in for Fiat now, ahead of a mainstream ECKD rider, Nick Hogard. Peter Austin and James Ogilvie coming in together for OTR shortly after that. Kurt Pedersen now coming home, just sees the the banner late, as all riders will. Knows that he's got nobody behind him. Eases up. I say nobody behind him. Nicky Hogard would argue with that, wouldn't he? Nicky for riding for ECKD. That's the more common ECKD, the mainstream ECKD kit. As I say, look out for them on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Peter Austin is now got 7 seconds on my good friend. In fact, the thing is, I actually know both of these two guys. So, Peter Austin from Leatherhead, James Ogilvy from Ramsgate, shortly to move out of there though. And both absolutely wonderful guys. I've met them both in real life, and they are credit to the team OTR and a credit to IndieVelo, RGT, and everything else they ever do. Well done, Peter. Lovely to see you again. James, who I've been talking to moments before the race on our little social media groups. Great to see you, James. Thanks very much, and good luck with all the OTR stuff you're doing. Biggest promoters on here by far, putting so much into the community. Ruben Medina now, Spanish, BBC. Say, if you're British, that's a bit of a hard one to go. BBC is out. Allez, Daniel, Christophe Canton, Christophe, bonjour, bonsoir. It's great to see you here. So, Ruben Medina coming in for BBC. I have to work out what that stands for, because it's certainly not British Broadcasting Corporation. 20th, Evan Oystenson, race 3R. Results momentarily up there. And as we look at Barrington Bicycle Club, that's what it is, Barrington Bicycle Club. Okay. Now I know. Thank you. Thank you. Evan Oystenson, as I was saying, R3R rider, beating England Van Birds from Ratio Racing. And Denis Walleux, Rida Givray du Trainer, is Swiss in there, just beating Kurt Pedersen, Nicky Hogard from two of the ECKD teams, Peter Austin and James Ogilvy, as we just saw. Ingmar van Berzia at 21st, Dennis Forel, as I just said, Rida Givray du Trainer, Kurt Pedersen, Nicky Hogard, we said, Peter Austin, James Ogilvy, Ruben Medina for Barrington Bicycle Club. We're watching Craig Jones, and it's now a tradition that I have to say that I think he's done a great job of using the Welsh flag colours on the kit. You can't miss him. That's the thing. Of course, I like it as a commentator. Richard Gate just pulling away from James Eastwood, but I think James Eastwood is sitting on his wheel, ready to jump him if possible. James, as I said earlier, quite a character on the social media, so look out for him on the Facebook page. I think Richard's putting in a bit of pressure, but James, look, James has got that kick. He's going to do it, isn't he? Well done, James Eastwood. Absolutely phenomenal finish. Bad luck, Richard Gate, but thank you both of you for illuminating the race. Absolutely fantastic. I love these little battles at the back. Jan Hansen, as I say, he's the ECKD top organiser guy, and Wednesday evenings you should be in his races. There is no doubt about it. Wednesday evenings is going to be ECKD night on IndieVelo, 7 p.m. UK time. Work it out. If you're in Central Europe, it's probably an hour earlier. An hour later, should I say, because we are an hour earlier. Well done, Jan. Great to see you in there. Sandy Thompson now for CNS, riding towards the finish. He's got 20 seconds on David Buckley. David, I'm delighted to see David back in my races. There is probably nobody anywhere who has ridden more of my races than David Buckley, it has to be said. And it's absolutely fantastic. I hadn't seen him. It's probably, I don't know, a couple of months, maybe 3 months since I've seen David. But I think over the 4 years I've done it, that's probably, no more than 4 months out of 4 years that he's been missing from my races. And anyway, Sandy Thompson coming in now, and absolutely phenomenal. Just coming around that bend to see the bend. There it is. There's the finish. I'm sure after all those mountains, it's quite a relief when you see those coming through. David Buckley still 21 seconds behind. He's got 19 seconds on Frédéric Furent, and will be reasonably comfortable. Here's David Buckley now. I'll have to get in touch and have a chat with you, David. It's been ages since we've spoken, and after all the help you gave me when I started doing this, I think I think it's about time we caught up. Maybe had a beer or something. I don't know. It's down in Surrey, so we're not round the corner from each other. So some of the riders are. Tim Cummins definitely is, and some of the other riders. And Frederic Foulon is going to follow David in. Well done, David. Quite a catchy kit there, by the way. And the bike colours. Very, very coordinated. Frederic Foulon riding for R3R. Remember, they have sprints Tuesday on IV. So Tuesday, you've got the choice between the R3R events for Tuesday or the OTR event of Titans. It's so great to have so many good race organisers on board here. So Frederic coming in next, and Tomasz Lajnik, Slovenian, I think, is ahead of Gonzalo Santos. I must get these things better. So Tomasz Lajnik coming in for Slovenia in a white kit. And here's, I've got to say it now again, Gonzalo, isn't it? Well done, Gonzalo. Actually, I quite like that kit. That's kind of a cool combination. I would not have gone out and picked that one, but it looks really, really good. Loving that colour coordination. Really good. Going back, Peter McDermott now. I say this every week. Scottish name. Alba sounds Scottish and an Irish flag. It's all Gaelic, isn't it? I know I say that every week. I'll stop. I promise I won't even mention that, Peter, next week. Clive Byam, been with us for so long, absolutely. Oh, look at this. Clive Byam's going to attack Peter and does it with a plum. I don't think Peter had enough left in the tank to respond to that. Clive Byam nicking an extra point in the series there. Points given out, 100 for the winner, usually. But it's everybody's going to get 20, so it's going to be 120. Now we have the Walker-Davidson family with somebody else in there. Bongo Yam now, the Swede, interloping with two West London riders. Eileen Davidson probably going for the 100 points in the ladies' competition here. She's with Andrew Walker pacing her. As I say, her other half is his brother. And is Bongo Yam going to spoil the party now? Bongo not riding for a team by the looks of things. Swedish now, got the IndieVelo shorts on with the white shirt. The two West London riders now. Eileen looking for ladies' points. She's not too bothered if she loses a place to Bongo because she will still get 100 for the ladies' point being the first lady. But there's always the excitement of the sprint. And it's Andrew Walker who goes for it now. Andrew is pulling away. Looks like he's going to get it. He's not going to tow Eileen over the line. But she's going for it now. She's been out for a big ride this afternoon with her husband, Neil Walker, Andrew's brother. And she said she might be tired. And she goes for a sprint, but it's probably not enough because Bongo is just holding that now. Will the start line come now? She's eking it out. She's going to pull away. It's going to be Andrew and then Eileen and then Bongo. Well done, the three of you, for making that interesting as we see the results coming. Thomas Lashnick at 35th, Gonzalo Santos at 36th, Clive Byam at 37th, Peter McDermott 38th, Andrew Walker 39th and 40th, Eileen Davidson, as we've just seen, Bongo taking 41st, the Swede there. We're now with Adam Morgan, another one of the OTR riders. They've got so many and proud to wear that kit. Every one of them, I'm sure, is coming in now. He will be 42nd in the race. We've got, how many we've got on there? Was 3? We're probably looking at a decent. Gus McPherson just telling me that his laptop died in the race. Sorry that happened to you, Gus, if you are watching. I was wondering why I hadn't seen you in the race. I knew you were in it. Adam Morgan taking the next slot for OTR. Francis Chalmers, if you elect for IndieVelo Founders Club as your team, and basically it means you're a paying subscriber, so you are a founder. And if you're not in another team, you can choose their club. And this is the kit you get. It's not bad, is it, actually? So Francis Chalmers now at 135 ahead of Chris Novi, and must be glad to cross the line. Always are in a mountain stage, aren't you? So there's Francis Chalmers 43rd. Chris Novi now, the Canadian in the orange, just coming through the Flamme Rouge now. And you get the Flamme Rouge, but despite all that coastline, you know that you still got to go inland around that headland before you can see the finishing line. He's ahead of one of the Twickenham riders now, so I think that's 4 Twickenham riders in the race. That's a good turnout from one of our friendly local clubs. Great to see you all. Chris Novi now 800 metres from the finish as he goes inland round the cove and back round the headland, and then finally you get to see the end. PJ now going through the Flamme Rouge. PJ is another Frenchman, but with the UK flag right. PJ from France, as I say, from France. And he has now got 900 metres with Chris down to about 500 metres. Still can't see the finish though. 500 metres out and you don't know where it is. You can't kind of gauge it in that visual sense. But he'll know he'll know from the distance countdown, 460 metres, that it's not far away. He'll know from the data he's got 25 seconds on PJ. PJ's got 25 seconds on John Rogers. Great to see you again, John. Thanks for coming back. Yuri Kulin, thank you for coming back too at 1:38 behind Chris. Andy Evans in there for West London, works with Top Jimmy actually. Darren Pace from Twickenham. Great to see you again, Darren. Thanks a lot. Natalia Zajewska getting some Ladies League points there. And she's just overtaken Darren Pace from Twickenham actually. Ian Hepburn, Gail Robinson, all in there as we watch Chris Novi come in. I wonder if Lisa West is still in there. Should be. I think we've got a decent amount of riders on there. Chris Novi coming in there. This is PJ, one of the Twickenham riders. They got a good turnout, haven't they? Look, Gail Robinson, Darren Pace, Gavin Grant, and we know that Lisa West was in earlier. So that's 5 Twickenham riders. Decent turnout. Loving the kit, guys, as well. Well done for sorting that out, Gavin. And he's ahead. He's comfortably ahead, PJ now, the Frenchman, riding in West London. Well, I say West London. Twickenham, we'll call it South West London, shall we? Twickenham from South West London. One of our local clubs, a great club too. If you live out Twickenham way, I thoroughly recommend them. Lovely guys. John Rogers now. Good to see you again, John. Looking very eye-catching in that red and white hoops. I can't think in Doncaster Rovers here, but probably a bit unfair. Irish flag. It's probably represents something else. So I won't be too quick to start going on about Doncaster Rovers and football teams from South Yorkshire if you didn't get the reference. So there we are. Well done, John. Here's Yuri Kulin, the Russian rider, coming in blue. So Tour du Monde, as we mentioned earlier, is coming your way. OTR sorting this one out. You'll know Tour du Monde. It was absolutely huge on RGT, and it's going to be even huger, if there is a word called huger. Such a word as huger, I should say. And my grammar all getting muddled here. The excitement of Tour du Monde, getting my grammar all muddled up. Yuri now just chasing Andy Evans with 380 metres to go. Yuri, I think, is making up a little bit of ground, but the time running out, I think Andy can just about hold that, but he's going to have to not ease up, and it doesn't look like he's easing up. He's certainly put some pressure in. He's only got 3 seconds with 170 metres to go. A quick spurt by Yuri Kulin could damage Andy's race here, but it's out to 5 seconds now. With Andy got the finishing line within sight. Great finish, Andy. Well done. And Andy from Bushy, just outside Watford in Hertfordshire, on the edge of London there. Yuri Kulin sitting up, realising that he's not going to catch. Just ahead of another Russian rider by the looks of things. Natalia now it's just ahead of Darren Pearce. Darren in the black Twickenham kit. Now Darren just going for a sprint. Actually, that's a little bit worrying because Natalia is not pedalling, and I hope that's not a dropout. I mean, I hope that's just her easing up. But the time gap with Darren is going out, and I think I'm really hoping that Natalia is just easing up and there's no pedalling there at all. She's going to get through the line, but she lost that place to Darren. Interesting to know that she will know, of course. But well done, Natalia. Very, very good. Ian Hepburn next in a rather striking coloured kit. You couldn't miss that one, could you? He's coming home ahead of Twickenham's Gail Robinson. We see Lisa West is still in the race ahead of Migu Canada and some of the others. Here we are. Here's Gail, and I think by the looks of things, Gail, you had a better time out this time than last time when you kept getting those dropouts. We just saw Natalia's legs not moving. We kept going on the camera on Gail in the last race, and the legs weren't moving, and then they were, and then they weren't, and then they were. And it was just the intermittence of dropouts that she was getting that messed up the race. But a solid performance tonight, Gail. Great to have you back, and glad it worked out this time. She's got 600 metres to go, and she's still got to go around the headland, but it's going to be a safe finish. Ahead of Rasmus Gregersen, one of the BMXF riders. Now, I know the BMXF riders, I know that's definitely an ECKD sub-team. So, behind them, we've got Migu Canada, Lisa West and Maria Vitsky. Maria always in the races from Puerto Rico. And if you remember on RGT, one of our last races, we actually ran one of their Magic Road courses on a course in Puerto Rico that Maria supplied me with. Absolutely fantastic it was. The last but one race. We just got that in, and it was really nice to do that. One of only 2 Magic Roads I ever ran in the Caribbean. Not the only one overseas. I ran one in Belgium as well. So tends to be places I've visited, although I haven't actually been to Puerto Rico. Having said that, anyway, I didn't need to know that one because Maria supplied me the course. Looking at some of the results, James Ogilvy and Richard Gay, Jan Hansen, David Barkley, looking at all these riders. Natalia Zetsva, just beaten by Darren Pace. We saw Ian Hepburn, Gail Robinson, of course, watching Rasmus Gregersen now. As I say, that is a sub-team from ECKD, I can tell you, because I did get that one confirmed. I checked up with them a few races ago. I suddenly thought that was unusual for the Danes to have an extra, a different team that wasn't ECKD. And I got a very nice message back explaining that it's just sub-teams within them. Taking, again, the legs not moving. I hope that's just easing off rather than dropouts. And it may well be. Rasmus probably in no danger with 400 metres to go of Gavin catching up 30 metres. Let's say Gavin Grant from Twickenham organises everything for them, and we're all going down to stay at his new cycling centre in the foothills of the Pyrenees in June. So thoroughly looking forward to that. Actually, Gavin, I just wonder if this mountainous course might not have suited you more, but I'll have to have a discussion with you about that. So Rasmus now with 200 metres to go ahead of Gavin. Migu now comfortably, he's got 30 seconds on Lisa West. Be interesting to see. Don't know whether Lisa will bother challenging or just kind of accept that's where it is. So we've got Lisa coming up very, very shortly, and I'll get messages from the producer here. So we'll go to Lisa, and we will cover Maria finishing. Maria quite way behind. Here's Gavin, and I'm so pleased they've got their kit now. I know in the last race I think they were disappointed that it hadn't come through, and they've all got it now, looking more like Twickenham than they have in previous races, of course. And Twickenham is a kind of like dark blue in real life. This looks a bit blacker here, but it actually looks quite shiny and nice, doesn't it? Well done, Gavin. Great finish. Going back to Migu Canada now, not having one of his regular tussles with Maria Vitsky today because he's quite a way in front of her. He's got 1.2 kilometres to go, so quite a way. We could probably have a look at the top 10 finishing lineup at the moment and see where we are. And here we are. So just a reminder, Tim Humpton, Top Jimmy, absolutely duking it out. Tim Humpton doing what he inevitably does best all the time, which is just absolutely murder you at the end bit. And that's what he did to Top Jimmy. But Top Jimmy, I think that's your best finish ever. And weren't you a star today? I know you love the hills, and you proved it to us. You challenged one of the best, and you beat some of the best. Ludwig Karlberg smashed away at the end in his true style, but not good enough to beat Top Jimmy today. Top Jimmy, if you've beaten Ludwig Karlberg, Eugene Korolov, Seb Norman, Casper Gopse, James Melville, Carl Axel, Sander Pedersen, Leo May and Rasmus Feldpool, that is a good result. Crown and Treaty for beer, right? That's what's happening. The Crown and Treaty pub for beer. Right. back, back to the riders. We've got Lisa West on the left riding for Twickenham. We've got who have we got on the right? Mickey Canada on the right, always with the Canadian flag. Changes kit a bit actually. This is I think he always used to sort of kind of have quite a red one on the RGT channel. So were they in it? I don't know. I'm just guessing. Mickey Canada now with 450 meters to go. Sorry, I'm getting these messages flying up that I don't fully understand actually. So I'll have to re-examine what they say. I think they're coming up on different message boards. So I'm getting completely thrown thinking they're messages from the producer and their other social messages. No wonder they didn't make sense. That's the trouble with all this multitasking on social media, isn't it? Get distracted. Mickey Canada, 170 meters to go in that new black and red kit. As I explained, you used to have a very red kit in RGT. I do think the choices and the configurations you can make in IV are very, very good. It goes under that and you see it's finish lit up. So if there's something lit up on the board, you know it's to do with our race. Lisa West now for Twickenham. Her husband is the president of Twickenham Cycling Club, and between her and Gavin and her husband, I think they put a lot together for that club, and it is a very active club. It's a good club to be in. So as I say, if you're further across than when we are in our West London group, if you're further over Twickenham way, I can thoroughly recommend them as a club, as Lisa comes home and goes under the finish barrier through that beam of light. Fantastic. So we've just got Maria Vitsky on the course. Maria's got 3 kilometres to go. We're probably not going to watch all of the 3 kilometres, so we'll assume that Maria is in fine form and will finish. I think this is not a course for Maria. All these mountains, I think she's done superbly well to get over them. I think this is not a natural terrain. To actually come out and do a course that doesn't suit you, I think it's very, very admirable. And let's just have a look at it. This is this is not the course we did today. This is Little Loops. This is a different one. So as interesting as that is that next week's? I'm not sure. Maybe that's next week's one actually. Sorry. It's anyway, what is? So as I say, absolutely brilliant of Maria to undertake a course that doesn't really suit her style. And I think there's a lot about the characters that make this up. You know, I have the guys that, you know, like Zeb Norman and Tim Humpton at the front, who are absolutely phenomenal. Carl Axel, Sander Pedersen. These guys are amazing racers. Rob Miller, everybody else. But the characters at the back are just as important to the whole community and the way this whole thing works. You know, you watch people like Maria, comes out, knows that this course is not going to suit her, comes out, finishes last, but takes the points, and she will accumulate points by turning up every time. And it's really, really impressive that she does it. And I think it's phenomenal that so many riders, Mickey Canada, never fails to turn up, takes the points, and because he's in every race, gets a decent GC finish. And you have to admire these people's participation. It makes the racing great. We get the subgroups when it splits up. 60 starters again for the second race running. I'm rather enjoying Monday Malarkey. Hope you are too. Thank you very much, ZMS. ZMS do so much for this. Thanks very much for all the encouragement from James Ogilvie and OTR as well. I've mentioned everybody's races during the week. As I say, OTR Tuesdays and Thursdays, R3R on Tuesdays, ECKD on a Wednesday, and of course Racio Racing on a Friday. There are more out there, but Ivy is populating very, very nicely with some of the great racing organisers from the RGT platform. The community lives on, ladies and gentlemen, and we shall see you next Monday. Bye-bye.